Hello, welcome back to our channel, American Ultra Screw. Here we are today. I'm joined by Braden and Arjun making his comeback. Long awaited comeback. It's been away for a while. But we're here to bring to you guys a preview of the Ligue table prediction for the Ligue, how the season's going to pan out. We know there are some things that are still to be resolved as of now, as we're speaking and making this video, but we're just making adjustments based on what we know for now. The teams to qualify to Champions League, we're going to first, second, third, and the fourth club to play the playoffs. I've gone with a shocker here, Olympique de Marseille to win the league. I know it's a huge jump up from last year, but I really rate their signings. I just think that Aubameyang, Renan Lodge, Sarr, Kondogbia, Vitor Oliveira, who I really rate from Braga, Ounahi, the Moroccan player that we saw at the World Cup, played really well, and Malinovsky especially. I think he's such a good player. He's going to tear up this league. And Bailey as well in the back, Veretout from Roma. I think they have enough to win the league this year. Second place, PSG, Lens, and then Lille fighting for that playoff spot. Braden, who do you pick as your top four?
Yeah, mine's pretty different actually. Obviously, I've gone for PSG to win the league. I'm wearing the jersey. They're in the background. I do think they're going to be worse than last year. Obviously, losing Messi, they might lose Mbappe, but they've made some quality signings, Ugarte, Lucas Hernandez, and I think basically the rest of the league, especially the top teams, have gotten worse. So I think PSG should still win the league comfortably. I've gone for Marseille in second. Like you said, I like a lot of their signings. Aubameyang should be big. I'm just a little worried about the loss of Dimitri Payet, who's been their star man for the past few years. But I do think they'll finish second. Third, I've gone for Monaco. This is mainly a product of, I think, all the other teams have gotten worse around them, and they've pretty much stayed the same. Just a replacement keeper, Philip Cohn from Salzburg, who I've watched, and I rate him pretty highly. And then in fourth, I've gone for Stade Rennais, who finished their last season and seem to be pretty consistently in that fourth spot. I think they've maintained a pretty solid squad.
Yeah, so my name says it. I don't really watch Ligue 1, but I'm gonna give my best educated predictions that I can. So my first place is PSG. Again, this is PSG's league. Nowadays, and it used to be way more competitive, but nowadays it's just purely PSG. Maybe Monaco, again, and Lille, but again, other than that, PSG dominates. My second place is Marseille. Like Braden said and Yuri said, brilliant signings, but I don't see him pipping PSG just yet. I just don't think PSG is going to topple over after losing Messi and Mbappe. I mean, they might not lose Mbappe, but in my opinion, I think they're going to lose Mbappe either this summer or in the winter. Mbappe definitely seems like he's about to go. And my third place is Lille. Lille have been a consistently good team for the past 5-6 years in Ligue 1, always finishing in good positions. And I know they lost Weah, but they still have David. So, and I think they should be bringing in a replacement for Weah, or they already have. I don't know, but I think Lille will do well. I got them finishing third. My fourth place is Lens. Lens finished second this year, but I think they're going to have a bit of a fall off. Second season syndrome is a real thing in football, where if you overperform one season, you can drop off the second season. We saw that with Leeds in the Premier League 2020. They performed really well, then dropped off really badly. So I got Lens in my fourth place. So yeah, those are my top four.
Yeah, I think we had pretty similar top four. It's just a different order. And I'm just going to say my Olympique de Marseille pick is really reliant on Mbappe leaving. Like Arjun said, I think he's either going to leave this summer or the winter. If he doesn't leave, I think PSG wins the league. All right, fifth and sixth, the next clubs to actually qualify for an European competition. I've gone with Nice. They're really solid, had a good season. I think they could be challenging for a top four. And Lorient, I know it's a huge step up from last season, but I think that with Makengo, a player that I really rate from Udinese, he tore up the Primavera when he was playing there, did well for the first team. I think him, Mendy, a little morality issue there with him, but he is going to improve them. I think Favre is a really good player. I think he's such a good winger, one of the best ones in this league. And Manone, I think Vito Manone is a good goalkeeper as well, really experienced when he was in Monaco. Granted, he didn't really get much play time there, but he should slot in nicely there. So those are my picks to qualify for Europe. Braden, what are yours?
For fifth, I've gone for Lille. I think you guys both had them in their top four, but for me, they lost Weah, Jonathan Bamba, Andre Gomez, Jose Fonte. I just don't think they're good enough, and they haven't really made too many signings. They replaced Weah and signed an attacking midfielder, but outside of that, that's about it. So I don't think they'll have enough to crack the top four this season. And then I went for Lyon. I'm a bit concerned about some of the players they've lost, like Malagusto going to Chelsea, just for example, but I do think they'll have enough to crack the top six.
Yeah, so I got Monaco and Lyon as my two fifth and sixth spots in that position. I think Monaco is like Braden said, they stayed the same, but at the same time Monaco has been kind of mid since Mbappe left and since Fabinho left and all them players, even like Sidibe, even though he wasn't really good after he left Monaco. In Monaco, he was part of that 2017-2016 dream team that went to the Champions League quarterfinals, I believe. So yeah, I think Monaco, they're working their way back into like the mix here, but I got them fifth. And again, Lyon, again, Lyon's kind of iffy too. Lyon, they're supposed to be better, in my opinion. I don't know much about Ligue 1, like I said before, but at the same time, I think Lyon should be always competing for a top four spot, considering their history and who they are as a club. And I just haven't seen that in the recent years. Their best prospect, Aouar, he didn't really. I don't think he's really doing much anymore. Maybe he might. I think he might be still a top prospect, but he was supposed to be like that guy, the number 10 for like France, for Lyon. But I don't think he's panned out to be that guy so far. I don't know. I think Lyon and Monaco are just gonna be right fifth and sixth for me.
All right, yeah, I forgot to mention the reasons why I picked Nice to be fifth. I think that Mattia Vitti is one of the best Italian prospects, and Boga coming from Atalanta, I think he's going to carry them to try to challenge for a UCL spot. But moving on, are we going to
Aouar actually left.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, so yeah, there's no so you actually went to Roma. Like you're wearing a Roma shirt, so yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing the training kit. Tough. All right, now moving on down the table. You guys both had these clubs there. I have Monaco in seventh and Lyon in eighth. I don't really think that Lyon did enough. They lost a lot of players, like you mentioned. I don't think that Monaco is going to have enough to actually challenge for an European spot. I have Rennes, the one with two N's. Pronunciation here, pardon my French. They go in ninth. Montpellier, they go in 10th. Reims, without Balogun, I think they still stay in the same spot, 11th place. They're signing a lot of Italian Primavera players. Good scouting for them if they're not too rich. And I've gone with Metz, the newly promoted club. This is a really hot take. I really like their squad. I think they're going to be in 12th. Insane take here. Braden, who do you have 7th to 12th? The clubs that won't really challenge for Europe, but won't really challenge, try to battle relegation.
Yeah, so in seventh, I went for Nice. They had a bit of a down season last year, but I think they'll bounce back a little bit. Not necessarily fight for the European spots, but the best of the rest, if you could say. Eighth place, this might be a bit of a shocker, but I went for Lens. I think the losses of Openda and Fofana are absolutely crucial. They were far and away their two best players, and before those two broke out, Lens weren't really that great of a team, so I think they'll have a pretty big drop-off here. Ninth place, Lorient. Like you said, Yuri, I really like their signings, but I just don't think for now they can crack the top 8. I wouldn't be surprised if they do, but I just had them a little bit lower. 10th, Strasbourg. They had a bit of a down year last year after finishing 6th the year before, and I think they'll bounce back a little bit. Not fully, but I've backed them to finish top half. Or I guess it's not top half, but down to 11th, I went for Montpellier. They're just very consistently mid. I think they're one of the most mid-table teams in the league, and they'll probably stay there. And then for 12th, like you said, Stade de Reims. They lost Balogun, who is obviously their best player, but I really like some of the signings they made. Wilson Esperand coming in on loan for Man City, a great defender. And then just, I think that their squad as a whole has gotten a lot better.
Yeah, so Braden, you clearly have the most ball knowledge about Ligue 1 compared to us. I'm sorry, Yuri, but I think Braden is clear in terms of Ligue 1 ball knowledge. So I'm not gonna go in depth with like my predictions, but I'm just gonna list them out here. I got Stade Rennais. They're coming right outside of Europe in that 7th spot. Or is that 6th spot? 1, 2, 3. 7th, yeah, 7th spot. Then I got Reims or Rems, whatever. You know, they did lose Balogun, but at the same time they have Will Still, the legend himself, at the helm, and Will Still was the one who brought them up in that position last year. So I think Will Still has the capacity to keep them up in those positions. So after that, it's a bit of a hot take. I got Le Havre. Le Havre was a great team in Ligue 2 last year. They had the best defense by far, only conceding 19 goals in the whole league, the whole season. 19 goals. I mean, that's absolutely ridiculous stats. And again, in Ligue 1, when you jump from a lower division to a higher division, it's all about how you can withstand the pressure and how you can defend against these higher opposition players. The offense is also pretty good, but the defense is where Le Havre takes the cake for me. And I think Le Havre will put on a show this year. For me, I got them finishing 9th. And 10th place, I got Montpellier. Montpellier has just been consistently mid for the past couple seasons. They're going to keep on being mid. Unfortunately, they're a good team. Giroud came from Montpellier, I think. If I'm not mistaken, yeah, he was a Montpellier academy player. I might be wrong there, but I'm pretty sure he was. Montpellier is a really good team in France. Montpellier has a great history, but they're mid right now, so they're coming in 10th, unfortunately. 11th, I got Nice. Nice last year, I mean, the mid-table, I think they're just going to stay mid-table. Nice last year were kind of mid-table. This year, they're going to be mid-table. They haven't really made any massive improvements. The past couple of years have just been kind of stagnating in the table, which is fine. I mean, at least you're not getting relegated, so good enough. But Nice is a decently big club in France, and you would expect them to be in the higher end portion of the table. And yeah, 12th, I got Clermont Foot. Clermont, they did really good last year. But again, I think second season syndrome is again a real thing. I think they're going to fall off this year slightly. So I got them in 12th.
All right, crazy. Arjun and I had 2 clubs that got promoted in the mid-table. That's nice. I really like Le Havre as well. I think they're going to have a good season. And all right, moving on to the clubs that we believe will struggle against relegation, try to battle it up until the end. Some of them know. Having 13th place, Brest. And I think they're a mid-team. I don't think they're gonna. I like their defense. I don't think they're really gonna struggle trying to fight relegation, but they won't have any big aspirations. Toulouse in 14th. I think they're a good club. Could possibly, honestly, I think their backline is really suspect. I think their fullbacks are really slow, and they could actually be lower down the table. But I think they have a good midfield. Now Clermont Foot in 15th place. And the clubs to be relegated, in my opinion, Nantes. I know this is crazy. I think that Nantes just didn't make many improvements. I don't really like their squad. Strasbourg had a good season last year, in my opinion, but I think they'll get relegated this time. Their fans seem unhappy all the time. I don't know why. I think they did pretty fine, honestly. They're similar to Paraná size, and they're here upset with staying up. And And Le Havre, I have them in dead last. Even though I loved them last season, I don't think they're going to do much this year. But I really hope they do, because I like their squad. I think they had a really nice, compact way of playing. But Brayden, what are your picks to battle relegation and the clubs to go down?
Yeah, so for the teams that I think will just survive barely, for 13th, I went for Clermont. They had a really shocking season last year, finishing 8th. I don't think anyone would have guessed that, but like Arjun said, I think it's going to be a bit of a reality check for them this season. Not necessarily struggling to go down. I don't think it'll come down to the wire, but I do think they'll be in the relegation battle for the main part of the year and finish 13th. 14th, I went for Lau. I really like their team. Like Arjun said, their defense is absurd, especially for that Ligue 2 level, and I think it'll translate pretty well. I hope they can re-sign Amir Richardson, the USA-Moroccan dual national. Right now, they still haven't brought him back, but I'm expecting they will. And they made a lot of solid signings as well, just to strengthen their squad depth. So I think they'll be fine. And then 15th, Stade Brestois. Like you said, Yuri, I mean, they're just a very mid-team. They kept basically the same team that finished 14th last year, so I think it'll be enough to stay up. For 16th, the relegation playoff, and I actually do think they'll get relegated in that playoff. I went for Nantes as well. losing Ludovic Blas and Andy Delort, I mean, probably their two best players, it's going to be a real struggle for them this year. 17th, this might be a little bit of a shock. I went for Toulouse. I think losing Van den Boomen, who was one of the best players in the league last year, is going to be a really big loss for them. And the added factor that they're going to be in the Europa League this year, just the fixtures with their squad depth, I just see it having a real negative impact on them, especially in the earlier parts of the season. So I think they'll get relegated. And then 18th, dead last, unfortunately, I went for Metz. I know you had them a lot higher, but I just don't think their squad's league in quality, unfortunately.
All right, so for 13th, I've got Lorient. I just got feeling they're just gonna finish in that barely surviving position. Then I've got Toulouse, and then I've got Strasbourg. So Strasbourg, the thing with Strasbourg is that they're too big of a club. They're way too big of a club to be relegated in France. They're always mentioned among Ligue 1 teams. They're never down. They never really are relegation fodder in any season. So I think Strasbourg, despite the fact they're not good at all, and they're probably not going to be good at all this season, I do back them in a way they're relegated. I don't see them relegated. Relegation playoff. So it's a new thing with Ligue 1 this year. Apparently they make it so only two teams get automatically relegated, and then one team has a playoff. I think it might do with it's a bit off topic here, but there's a Ligue 2 team, Sochaux, who are facing complete bankruptcy and like liquidation of the club, which is so sad to see, because Sochaux is, the fun fact, the first ever professional club in France, the first ever club to ever pay their players, the first ever professional football club in France was FC Sochaux. And they were sponsored by Peugeot, the car company, and Peugeot pulled out, and now they're facing financial issues, and they might just be completely liquidated. So I think the loss of a couple big clubs might be the reason why the French leagues are shrinking, because this year's 18, last year it was 20 teams. I might be wrong here, but I just made that connection. I don't know. Tell me if I'm wrong in the comments if you all know. But yeah, anyway, the two relegated teams for me the three relegated teams, my bad, are going to be Brest in the relegation promotion playoff. Again, Brest, all these last three teams just aren't good on paper, and last year they didn't perform well either. So yeah, Brest is going to be 16th for me, 16th. And then relegation, automatically, I got Nantes. So Nantes, I think Yuri said it, Nantes are they're a big team in France in a way. I always remember them for Emiliano Sala, the one player who died in the plane crash over the English Channel. Rest in peace. But Nantes. I do a soft spot for them. They have a cool badge. They've got good fans, and they had that one the one story of Emiliano Sala. But unfortunately, Nantes are going to get relegated. They're not that good of a team, and I don't see them staying up in the league. Dead last, I've got Metz, just like Yuri said. Not Yuri. Braden said. I know Yuri was backing them, but just like I backed Le Havre, I think Yuri. Unfortunately, I'm gonna say Metz isn't gonna do well. They came second last year in Ligue 2, which is a great accomplishment. But again, their squad is not Ligue 1 quality. I think they're going to get relegated dead last. So yeah, those are my predictions.
All right, so now let's pick the top goal scorer. I think this is really crucial to wait actually until the end of the transfer window, but right now we're still in the mid of the Mbappe annual drama with the transfer window. I think that he's going to be the top goal scorer if he stays, but if not, I'm going for Aubameyang. I think he has known the league. He was really prolific when he was there. He's going to be surrounded with good players in a very attacking system at Marseille, so I pick him. And for the youth player standout, I'm going for Indashimi from Nice. I think this kid's really good. Indashimi is a really, really talented player. I think he's one of those players that's going to blow up this year, like we have seen some wingers in the past coming out of France. So those are my two picks. What about yours, Braden?
Yeah, so if we're top scorer, like you said, if Mbappe stays, I don't think he will, but if he does, he has to be the top scorer, obviously, for PSG. If he doesn't, I'm just going to go based on that. I'm going to actually go with Lacazette. I think he had a really good year for Lyon, and he's basically the only firepower they have at this point. So I think he's going to be heavily relied on to carry them. And then for a youth player, I'm not sure if he would still count. I think he's like 23. I'm going to go for Hugo Ekitike from PSG. I think if Mbappe does leave, I think he's going to be trusted to be their main starter. And he's been doing pretty well in preseason for them. So I think he can pop up to score like 15 goals.
All right, guys. So, yeah, for me, my top scorer is not going to be Mbappe. Mbappe will leave, in my opinion. He needs to get out of PSG. PSG want him out. He realizes that he needs to leave if he wants to win trophies and win a Ballon d'Or. And Lacazette, he was, he's going to be like the next of throne from Mbappe in the top scorer spot. The issue is Lyon did not get better from last year. They have kind of stagnated, and you can argue that they've actually gotten worse with the loss of Aouar to Roma. And the next two, David, he's a bit of a pen merchant. I won't even lie to you. 10 pens. Okay, I might be hating on him. I might be bantering him too much because he's Canadian. But at the same time, I don't see Jonathan David getting that top spot, because last season he scored 10 pens from his total number of goals he had, which was around 24, I think. Which is obviously, pens are not like easy to score or anything, but at the same time, with a Lille team that lost a lot of their creativity, Bamba's gone, Weah's gone. Even though Weah wasn't really a creative player, he's more of a defensive player for Lille. And to say, I just don't see Jonathan David scoring, being a top scorer for Ligue 1. And the next two just left the league altogether. Balogun's in Arsenal, and Openda, I don't know where he is. I think Braden,
Leipzig.
Yeah, he went to Leipzig. So this might be a little hot take, but I'm gonna back Wissam Ben Yedder to be a top scorer for Monaco. Wissam, he's a veteran of Ligue 1. He always scores goals, no matter what it is for Monaco. He's a bagsman. He's a serial goal scorer. So yeah, I think Wissam's gonna be a top scorer next year.
All right, your youth player,
Youth player Warren Zaire-Emery for PSG. The 16-year-old, now 17 years old. He's playing for PSG, starting for PSG at the age of 16. Great talent. So yeah, I rate him really highly.
All right, thank you so much, Braden. Thank you, Arjun. Thank you to everyone who watched the video this long. Comment down below your predictions for the table, if you thought that we had any wild takes in this one. I know I did. And yeah, let's watch out and hope that Ligue 1 next year can actually be a lot better, more exciting, and we battle up to the last day. That would be nice for a change. But yeah, thank you so much. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. We'll see you next time.
Peace.